discuss a few because it's a long list, and
long.
they also depend on the stage of evolution. Please mark that word, evolution, because Chamas, in the simplest forms, it's a merry-go-round or just a welfare. And then the whole objective of investment comes second-hand, except now in the modern Chama, which is mentioned. This is now the modern Chama. It's perhaps 5-7 years old. From around 2 or 2, we've seen more of Chamas that are being formed for specific projects. There are a number. The first one is mentioned. Chamas start without a clear goal, or what I would call a roadmap. So they don't have what they are shooting at the end. If it was about utensils, once you've done a round of utensils, what next? So you start deciding the next thing at the end of a circle. If Chamas were able to actually get into goal setting, clearly have a very specific vision, which is what is called aspiration, with a very clear year 1, 5-year, and 10-year objectives, and then bring in the second area of weakness, commitment. That commitment is a major challenge to Chamas because it means every month something must happen if they are contributing money monthly, or if we are doing what we call a capital call, where we call money for a specific project, then members have to play to it. Those are 2 key challenges to any Chama that is in the investing space. Now, before they arrive at the space of investing, there was the issue of trust, which has been the primary basis upon which Chamas are formed. The moment you have to rely on the trust by blood, or by belonging to a former school, or by belonging to a church or to a Chama, that trust has some weaknesses. Because until one person misbehaves is when you realize that we thought we were and we are not. And that is being solved substantially by electronic means. Technology is coming in to remove that weakness for the younger people, but for the village-based older generation Chamas, that is still a challenge that stays there. So keeping records and authentic records, how much have I contributed, how much is my worth as a result of my historical contribution, is a problem. I've met as many Chamas that have collapsed or are collapsing, usually at the point I mentioned, 10 to 10 years, 8 to 10 years tipping period. The challenge is we put money here and we've not invested it in a manner that is giving us return. Yet the return was not an objective at the beginning. So just how do you choose investments? Because investment, like is mentioned, is a means to an end. So what's the end? We didn't have the end in the plan. We didn't plan to get ourselves at 100 million. So we bought some land and we bought some shares and we bought some what, without asking what returns are going to come from these assets. Even if we are buying them every month, would they take us to 100 million? So the choice of investments initially, until such a stage when now the Chamas have evolved, we've taken them through the planning process, they now have some document, and even when they have the document, commitment now comes in. Because I've seen Chamas that have come, done that, we've spent time with them a whole weekend, developed nice looking 3-page, short, clean, easy to do things. But then now the contribution, especially the capital call element for specific projects, fail, and when you fail to do it, then the objective keeps moving. So among others, social dynamics, very key. You start a Chama when you're boys or girls, then 1 or 2 of you get married. The ones who are now couples are now seeing stars that you are not seeing when you're together. Social dynamics is a major killer of Chamas, mainly around friends, because there are things you do when you are still of some age. But one of you decides to get married or to marry when you're still that age, they basically change and start to see things differently. And if that person was an anchor in that Chama will start collapsing. Lately, COVID and meetings, the challenge, and particularly COVID has caused people to lose jobs. And currently, a number of people have withdrawn their savings as opposed to seeing the opportunity that assets are cheaper now. And that points to my final challenge. That ability to, I'll speak a bit of Luo here.
Yes.
You know, to decipher a good opportunity. I can't replace that word. Perhaps you'll look for it.
Yeah.
Just being able to, when we have a challenge like we have now in a COVID period, assets are very cheap, because some people who did not keep their money well are now having to sell things at below the price, and anybody who has money should be picking. So this is a wealth transfer moment. Unfortunately, because a lot of these people did not plan their lives well, because a Chama is a collection of people, and the individual comes with their individual weaknesses. This is the time when people are borrowing money from the Chama to keep alive. And they're basically changing the whole objective. And if we aren't careful, if Corona stays longer, a number of small Chamas beginning from zero. So the list of challenges I can't finish within this 1 hour is quite a bit. It pays to see some quick results.
Yeah.
Not because it is the end,
Yeah.
but it does encourage people.
You're right.
You've seen the Boda Chama in Kitengela and others. Just the very fact that they have been able to build houses as a first step is a key boost to them to now add in that commitment element I mentioned.
Yeah.
So just being able to say we've bought land and given each one of us an eighth, we are now moving to building houses.
Wow.
And then they move in and borrow money and build houses, and people begin to occupy those houses.
Yes.
That changes things. So the issue about goals is, I mentioned a 1-year goal, a 5-year goal, and a 10-year goal. If you have achieved the first year goal, celebrate it.
Yeah.
Because then it gives you the room to move to the 5-year goal.
Absolutely.
Then to the 10 and 15. And that's what it is.
And even motivation to the rest of the people.
So the investments should not wait for 10 years, because if you're intending to buy property, you can buy shares in the interim.
Yeah.
The question is then, what is your objective? When would you look for an advice to be able to start putting this money on another asset pending a conversion?
Yeah.
What I know of the school of investing I have been, they should never fall in love with an asset.
Yes.
You buy it to change its form at the right time.
Wow.
Yeah.